Good morning, fellow Hoops fans. Welcome back to another episode of the Last Shot NBA show right here on Little Birdie TV. As always, brought to you by our great mates over there at topsport.com.au. Now, this is also the show where we've got regular MVPs, and my co-host has been named the Friday morning MVP, and I'm going to be named the Monday morning MVP. BK, how you doing?
I'm happy to accept my Larry Bird trophy. What's good, Nick?
I'll take that Magic Johnson one, mate, because we're going to get into that in a second, mate. This is getting ridiculous with the NBA now, just handing out so many awards, naming them after. Look, fair enough, they've been named after legends, but apparently the NBA now will be handing out conference finals MVP awards. The Western Conference Finals MVP award will be named after Magic Johnson. The Eastern Conference will be named after Larry Bird. BK, are you finding this as ridiculous as I am?
Hey, I like the idea of honoring the legends. I think that's cool, but it's a lot. But hey, if you can stack your trophy case, go for it. But yeah, it's an interesting one.
Yeah, it's really interesting because, like I said, I don't know, man. I don't think people are really sort of gunning for conference finals MVPs or second round MVPs and first round MVPs and stuff like that. I just feel like it's a little bit too participation trophy style.
Here we go.
Listen, we'll have to wait and see how that one plays out. But yeah,
hey, I was wrong about the play-in tournament. I could be wrong about this.
Yeah, me too, BK. Me too. So let's see how this one plays out. Let's get into the NBA talk. We had one fun game yesterday and one not so fun game. One was a bit of a blowout, but that Milwaukee Bucks Boston Celtics series, BK, is providing the goods. That has been absolutely fantastic to watch. Now, the Milwaukee Bucks had a come from behind win yesterday. They were down about 14 points with about 10 minutes left, but they won that game 110-107. Giannis had 41 and 11, but it was actually Drew Holiday and two massive defensive plays from him that sealed the W. He had one weak side block on Marcus Smart with about 9 seconds left. The Bucks go on to shoot free throws. Celtics had no timeout, so they had to advance the ball. And then Drew Holiday steals the ball from Marcus Smart again to seal the victory. Now, BK, what did you make of this ending to this game?
You got to hand over that Defensive Player of the Year trophy to Drew Holiday. But two huge heads-up plays there from Drew Holiday. Like, this is why the Bucks are the reigning champs. Like, we talk about, like, pivotal moments in series. We remember last year in the finals when Drew had that steal on Devin Booker that led to the alley-oop. They go up 3-2. This was a similar kind of thing because the Bucks had no business winning this game, being down 14 in the fourth, but they just stuck with it. Shout out Bobby Portis as well. He was crashing the offensive glass. He had more offensive rebounds than the entire Celtics team. But Drew Holiday, those two plays, especially the one at the end to get that steal, because if you zoom out, Jason Tatum was calling for the ball wide open on the three-point line. Al Horford was there in the corner as well, and it was only really Giannis playing free safety there. So if Holiday doesn't get that steal, the Celtics get a good look at a shot to tie it up, but it was a huge play down there from him.
And if I remember correctly, BK, you did mention Bobby Portis and those offensive rebounds. It was a Bobby Portis offensive rebound that led to that foul and those free throws, if I remember correctly, right? Towards the end of the game.
I assume every offensive rebound the Bucks got was Bobby Portis.
Yeah, he was absolutely huge for them. But you're right, BK. Like, this was that moment in the series where you just felt like things turned, and if the Bucks go on to win, which I actually expect them to do now, I do think they will close this out at home, and they go further than obviously the conference finals, and who knows, maybe they win the championship again. But this is that moment that we're going to look back to, and we're going to say this is where it all turned for the Milwaukee Bucks, because like you said, they had no business winning that game yesterday. We wondered, me especially, how they were going to play and who was going to step up in the absence of Chris Middleton. And Drew Holiday yesterday said, look, I'm putting my hand up. I'm going to do what it takes to win this game. And now there's talk that Chris Middleton might return for maybe game 6. If they progress, he's going to be back for the next series.
I mean, are they now the favorites? Like, it's crazy. I change my mind every day. 2 days ago, it was the Warriors. But if they get Chris Middleton back into the lineup, at home to close out this series and the momentum they'll now get going into the Eastern Conference Finals. It's huge for the Bucks. They look terrific, and Giannis as well. I mean, he's been made to work by this Celtics defense, but my God, is he working? Like it is hard work out there for him. The defense has been so physical. They're defending as a team, but Giannis is just kind of grinding his way through. It's like a hard 41 points, but he's still putting up 40 points. You know what I mean?
And you saw yesterday, like he obviously got that cut. I think it was above the eye, and he was streaming blood at one point, and it was just like he was still in the game. They obviously had to call a couple of timeouts to get that, attended to. But he's feeling it, man, and he's putting up those numbers. Just quickly, you touched on this as well. Again, you kind of jokingly said that we should hand that Defensive Player of the Year award to Drew Holiday. There was a lot of that going around on Twitter yesterday, right after the game. And look, a lot of it is jokes and a lot of it is kind of reactionary, because somebody asked me yesterday, like, who's the better defensive player? And I said, listen, Marcus Smart deserved his award this year, and that's not taking anything away from Drew Holiday. Drew Holiday is obviously a good defensive player as well, but I still think Marcus Smart deserved his award.
Oh, 100%. The timeline was killing Marcus Smart yesterday, but he had a great regular season and was the best defensive player this season. If you ask me who is a better defensive player out of the two, I would probably say Drew Holiday, but Smart had the season. That's what the award is for. It's not the who's just the best, but that's what the playoffs are for. That's the who's the best award.
I agree with that 100%, BK. All right, let's move on to the other game that was on yesterday. Now, this game wasn't as entertaining as the first one, the Golden State Warriors and the Memphis Grizzlies. Now, we're going to start off, first of all, we're going to talk a little bit about Steph Curry, because prior to the game, according to ESPN's Kendra Andrews, she reported that she asked Steph Curry prior to the game, what's the game plan for the Grizzlies? And he said, whoop that trick. That is our game plan. Now, obviously, that went viral. People started talking about that. It was actually the Warriors that got whooped in the end. At one point, they were down, I think it was 50, 52 points, lose by 39 in the end. That game was not close right from the get-go. With about 8 minutes left in the fourth quarter, Memphis crowd began chanting, whoop that trick, as they do. Draymond Green was joining in, waving a towel. You could see Steph Curry in the back laughing about that as well. After the game, Draymond was asked about that, and this is what he had to say.
Mind you guys want to have about whoop that trick?
They're not gonna whoop that trick alone. We're gonna whoop that trick together if we're gonna whoop that trick. You gotta. One thing I don't respect is people who only bring it when they win it. Or embrace crowds when you win it. We call those front runners. We're not front runners, We got our ass kicked. That's all right. It happens, but you don't be front runners. When you spew it out, you gotta be willing to take it and not hide from it, not duck from it, not run from it. Embrace it. So I appreciated the crowd tonight and the energy that they brought to the game. And if they want to whoop that trick, we're gonna whoop them together.
Listen, say what you want about Draymond, but I respect that, right? I actually agree 100% with what he just said there. Now, look, to me, this is a veteran squad, right? Especially those guys, Draymond, Clay, Steph, they've been through it all. They also understand this is just one game, right? They already move on now. They're going back home into a game 6 with another chance to close it out. They're not worried about this. Blowouts happen. You move on.
Yeah, I mean, the confidence they have going back home against the Grizzlies team without Ja Morant, I still think the Warriors will be fine. This was just a fun game. I love this Memphis crowd. Draymond has had some fun with this Memphis crowd. But shout out to the Grizz. I mean, 39 points, that's the third largest victory when facing elimination. And it would have been very easy to just pack it in, say our best player's hurt, we're already down, these guys are a championship kind of squad, but they showed a lot of fight. They ran them out the gym yesterday. Will they be able to force a game 7? It still looks like Morant's not going to be available for a game 6, but this has been a fun series.
Look, I mean, the result's not too surprising in the sense that maybe the actual winning margin was surprising, but the fact that the Grizzlies can win without Ja Morant, they've proved that this season. I think they're 21-6 without Ja. So, they can win without him. Now, my question to you now, BK, is Okay, so they're still without Ja. They go into game 6. Let's just say that they win game 6, right? Are the Warriors going to start getting a little bit shaky after that, going back to Memphis for a game 7 in front of that crowd? I mean, we know they've given up a 3-1 lead before in the playoffs. They're no strangers to that. Is game 6 must win for the Warriors?
I don't think you want to go back to Memphis for a game 7 because game 7 anywhere, anything could happen. They have to take care of business on their home floor. They know that. I think they will do that. But if this does go to a game 7, don't be surprised if Memphis pulls something out here because they are a plucky team. They've shown that their athleticism is a problem for the Golden State Warriors. Personally, I would love to see this go to 7 just to see how the Warriors respond because fair enough, they lost this game tonight. The way they lost it, could it come back to haunt them? It probably would, but let's just see. This could take another turn. Maybe Ja Morant comes off the bench with a Superman S on his chest in game 7. Let's go.
I'm all for any crazy scenario in the playoffs. But look, like I said, I kind of feel like the Warriors do need to close it out in 6 because, like you said, you don't want to go back to Memphis with that crowd there. The Grizzlies sort of full of confidence, full of momentum, because they're playing with nothing to lose at the moment, So you don't want to be in that environment. But look, all jokes aside, I do think the Warriors close it out at home in San Fran.
Yeah, the 3-1 jokes on the timeline if this goes to a game 7 are going to be crazy.
It's going to be a glorious night on the old Twitter timeline if that happens.
Yes, sir.
All right, BK, let's talk a little bit about we're still talking about the Los Angeles Lakers somehow. Didn't their season end like 6 months ago?
LeBron's been in Cancun for 2 weeks already. We're still talking about the Lakers.
All right, so the news in Lakerland that we are talking about now is that apparently Phil Jackson is involved in the search for the new Lakers coach. As we know, Frank Vogel was let go at the end of the season. Now, this is coming via Bill Plaschke, reporter from the LA Times, I believe, who said that Phil Jackson would like to see LeBron James traded. Now, the quote from Plaschke is, "I've heard that Jackson would like LeBron traded," he said. "I've just heard that, but I've got nothing to back that up. No on the record stuff to back that up. I do know that Phil Jackson would like to keep Westbrook and try to make that work with him." Now, obviously, this is nothing official. This is a bit of conjecture, I guess, at this point, BK. But firstly, why would old man Jackson want to build around a 33-year-old Russell Westbrook and get rid of LeBron James?
You trying to run the triangle with Westbrook for 1 year? What are we doing? What is this? I don't know, man. I mean, it's no surprise if this is true that Phil Jackson wants to trade LeBron. We obviously know the history between those two guys, but why are we still going back to Phil Jackson every time there's a crisis in Lakerland? Like, I mean, come on. I mean, Rob Pelinka has proven to be good at his job. Like, what are we doing? I thought this was a new era for the Lakers. And say they do want to make a change. Is this the change they want to make? I mean, are they going to keep Anthony Davis in this situation? What's the plan to build around Russell Westbrook? I don't know, man. This sounds crazy to me.
Listen, man, as a Knicks fan, right, I saw that Phil Jackson tenure up close and firsthand when I was over there covering the Knicks. Listen, old man Jackson, he's not for the modern game. He's trying to put some squares in round circles and all that. He's trying to, coach and manage teams like it's the late 80s and early 90s. I don't know. Look, again, this is all conjecture at this point. Let's just say hypothetically that you do put LeBron on the trading block, which I'm actually surprised he doesn't have a no trade in his contract because he definitely had him with Miami and with the Cleveland Cavaliers. What kind of trade do you envision, BK? What would you get back for a 37-year-old LeBron James?
Whatever Cleveland is willing to offer. They got some spare bigs floating around. Look, if that's a situation where you do trade LeBron, like I think you could still demand something in return. I know he's 37, but this man's coming off a 30-point season. There will be teams around the league that will move everything if that means they can get a chance at a 37-year-old LeBron James, which sounds crazy, but that's just what it is with LeBron. He's still that good. Honestly, where would LeBron go? Where would he go from here?
I don't know. Like, he said, and then he obviously walked it back, but he does want to play with Bronny when Bronny eventually does get drafted. Now, whether Bronny's good enough to be drafted, I don't know, but I think some team will draft him based on the fact that they'd probably be able to get a 39, 40-year-old LeBron for at least one season. And you're going to actually put some bums in seats, if you're a bad team anyway. You're not going to be contending for a title. So I don't know where LeBron would go. All I know is old man Jackson can't be trusted. And the other old guy in the Lakers, the consultant, Kurt Rambis, can't be trusted either. So as long as those two guys have some sort of say over there, I don't know what's going on in Lakerland.
To be honest, I wouldn't be surprised if Anthony Davis is the name that comes up, because Chicago's been the team that, has kind of been lurking in the background. He's obviously from there. He hasn't really been able to stay on the floor. I mean, he's an unbelievable player when healthy. We saw that in the bubble, but is this the guy you want to commit your long-term future to? That was kind of the plan, was LeBron would kind of fade into the third option and AD would step up and be the number one guy. That hasn't really been the case. I mean, if you're going to trade LeBron, are we going to trade AD as well? Like, what are we doing here?
Yeah, I out of those three, I actually think AD is probably the most movable out of those three. I don't think anyone's taken on Russ and $47 million. And LeBron, you get something back for him, but I just think because obviously Anthony Davis is younger and I guess in the prime of his career, you'd get more back for an Anthony Davis than you would for a LeBron James. Right,
hey, just trade AD for Steven Adams and run it back. Let's go.
Hey, listen, anything's possible in Lakerland. All right, Parky can't be with us today, so I'm actually going to take a quick look at the only game we're going to take a look at today, because there's one already in action, which is the Miami Heat and Philadelphia 76ers Heat looking to close that one out. So we're just going to take a quick look at Phoenix and Dallas, another game 6. The Phoenix Suns here, $1.72. Dallas Mavericks, 216. The line's at 2.5. The total's at 211 even. That one's going to be live on ESPN. Now, the home team has won every game in this series. So today's game is actually being played in Dallas. So the Suns still favorites to take this one out despite that. So if they're going to win this series, they're going to have to win on the road and be the first team to do so. Now, Parky, we're wishing him all the best. We know he's watching right now. He's actually in hospital having some surgery. So all the best, mate. Keep fighting the good fight. He just wanted to let us know. So he went 1-1 from his NBA picks on Wednesday. So he's 19-13 record on the season. That's a pretty good strike rate from Parky there in the playoffs. And he said his pick for today is the Suns under 2.5. Which is what they opened at. So he wants them. He thinks they're going to close out the series. I think they're going to close out the series as well today. I just thought that Luka was trying to force things a little bit too much on his own in that last game. But yeah, I'm going with the Suns to close it out. All right, my man BK, thank you very much for joining us. Enjoy your weekend. Enjoy the hoops action. And enjoy your Friday morning MVP trophy that we're going to send you away.
As always, appreciate it, my man. And prayers up, Parky. We'll see you. We'll see you next week.
See you next week. All right, BK, we'll catch you on Monday. That's been another episode of The Last Shot NBA show here on Little Birdie TV, brought to you by our good mates at topsport.com.au. We'll see you guys Monday morning.